Hey y'all, it's Dietra D back with you on this Thursday morning with another episode of the Dietra D Show. You know, there was a time in my life where I literally walked with my head held down because I was so embarrassed of some of the things that I had done in my younger days. Thank God I got out of that. And I'm sure all of you have heard this saying before, everyone has a past. And it's true, we all have a past. We've all done things in our past that we are not particularly proud of. And some of us, some of us, if we had a chance to do those things over again, would probably do something different. And anybody that tells you that they haven't done anything in their past that they should not have done, that they're not proud of, it's one of two things in my opinion. Either they have led an extremely boring life, or either they're just flat out lying. Because at some point, we've all done things that we know we should not have done, but yet we did it anyway because we wanted to and it felt good, or whatever your personal reasons may have been. Those were my reasons. I wanted to and it felt good. And that's what I'm going to be talking about this morning. And the title of this episode, which is very, very close to my heart, is Stop Being Ashamed of Your Past, because it doesn't define you. And you know, two people come to mind, and I always use these same two women as examples when I'm talking to someone else about this very subject, because believe it or not, there are a lot of people that I have come in contact with that have experienced the same feelings that I used to experience. You know, shame about some of the things that they had done in their past. And I always tell them, you know, I usually lead with my own testimony, because that was another reason that I started this podcast, you know, telling my own personal life experiences, hoping that things that I went through would help someone else make it to the other side and make someone else see that they were not alone. And one of those two women is Oprah Winfrey. Oprah, we all know her story. We know some of the horrific things that she endured as a child. Beatings, rapes, molestation. She went through all of that, but she did not run from it. She did not let that define her. And look at where she is today. You don't have to like her, but you most definitely have to respect her. Sorry about that. My timer went off. You don't have to like her, but you most definitely have to respect her because of what she went through. And she came up. She dealt with the trauma that she went through by getting professional help. She did not let that trauma define her, and she came out on the other side. That says a lot about her. She could have easily let everything that she went through in her past, in her childhood, she could have easily let that ruin her. She could have easily let it make her bitter, but she didn't. She used it as fuel. She used it as fuel to come out on the other side. And I have tremendous respect for her for doing that. Because looking at yourself in the mirror and unpacking all of the crap that you had to go through in your past, whatever it may have been, that's not easy. I had to do it myself. It was hard. Believe me, it was hard. It is not an easy thing to do. I cried, I screamed, I threw things, but I was determined not to let the things that I went through, not to let the things that people did to me in my past, I was determined not to let that define me. For a while, it did. But it doesn't anymore. I thank God that I got the help for that a long time ago. And that leads me to woman number 2 that I have a lot of respect for. And that woman is Tracy Lords. Now, a lot of you should be familiar with Tracy Lords. She started off as an actress in the porn industry, and she was underaged because she had ran away from home. I know her story quite well. She ran away from home. She dropped out of high school and ran away from home and got into the porn industry as a child. I think she was 14 or 15 when she started. She went through a lot. She talked about it in her autobiography. Rape, molestation, an abusive father. She had a lot of garbage to unpack too. But you know what? I have a lot of respect for her, and I always have. I also enjoyed a lot of her mainstream work too, because she was in a lot of the shows that I enjoyed. When she became of age and made the choice to get out of the porn industry, she decided that she was going to do the necessary work to unpack the trauma that she suffered. And she was going to make a positive name for herself. She wanted to become mainstream, and she did it. She took acting classes. She went to therapy. She did the necessary work to come out on the other side. And she did it. She became a successful mainstream actress, appearing in shows that a lot of us enjoyed. She became a best-selling author. She even released an album. She did not let what happened to her in her past define her. She didn't walk around with her head held down. She did the necessary work. She unpacked her trauma, and she came out on the other side and became a successful mainstream actress. That is not easy to do. I have a lot of respect for her for that. We all have a past. And it grinds my gears when I see people that want to hold other people, that want to judge other people based on their past. We've all been there. And I used to let people do that to me, but I don't anymore. I stopped that years ago. Don't be ashamed of your past, because it does not define you. And it really hurts my heart when I see people that do that. They'll let somebody just constantly beat them over the head with a mistake that they made in the past, or something that happened to them, something that they did. I am quick to tell people my testimony, my story. And I'm not ashamed of it. You can't embarrass me. I tell people that all the time. You cannot embarrass me, because if I did it, I will say I did it. I've had several people throughout my life. Oh, I remember when you did such and such. And my response to them is, yeah, I did. And that usually shuts them up real quick because they're surprised that I own it. And I own it because, like I said earlier, I tell my testimony to people that I think that need to hear it, because hoping that it will help them to realize that they don't have to be ashamed. If I did something in my past, I will tell you I did it. See, people love bringing up someone else's past. And I can admit, I have done it myself, but there's a difference. The only time that I will throw somebody's past in their face is if they're in my presence and I see them trying to judge somebody else for something that person did. When you're in my presence and I see you doing that to somebody else, if I know you personally and I know your dirt, I'm immediately going to bring up what you did to get you off of that other person. Because who are you to judge somebody for their trauma and for the things that they did because of that trauma? You don't need to let your past define you. We all have one. If you did something in your past that is still haunting you, that you're ashamed of, if somebody did something to you, or if you did something to somebody else, get into a therapist's office and get counseling and unpack it. Because that's another thing that I always tell people. You're never going to heal and make it to the other side until you face what is wrong, what is eating at you. You're never going to heal if you continue to bury trauma. The only thing hiding from it and burying it is going to do is it's going to cause you to repeat those toxic negative actions. And repeating the same toxic negative actions is going to continue to destroy you little by little. You're going to get worse and worse and worse until it leads to the unthinkable. And the unthinkable, when someone can't handle pain anymore, is usually suicide. And I don't want that for anybody. I'm a huge mental health advocate. I've discussed my own issues with it in earlier episodes. You guys need to check it out. But I am a huge advocate for getting therapy because it helps and it works. Does it feel good when you're going through it? No, it doesn't. But it's necessary to heal. There are so many people walking around with a smile pasted on their face, and underneath that smile, they are drowning in hurt. You have to get the necessary help in order to heal. You don't have to be ashamed of anything that you've done or anything that someone else has done to you. You don't have to be ashamed of that. That does not define you. If you did something to somebody, take accountability for it. If you're able to, write that person a letter, or if they'll see you in person, meet them in person, apologize, and go from there. If someone did something to you and they have not come to you to make it right, like if you were molested by a family member or a friend, or if you were raped or something like that, usually with situations like that, it's extreme, and usually you're not going to get any closure from the person that brutalized you in situations like that. So with that, you just have to get into counseling and unpack that and get through it. Because when you're talking about molestation and rape, the person that did that to you, or the people that did that to you, because I've known people that they were molested by more than one person. I've known some people that were raped by more than one person. When it's a situation like that, the person or the people that did that to you, they're only concerned with keeping themselves safe so nobody finds out what they did to you. So you're not going to get any kind of closure or any kind of apology from them regarding that. So you have to get yourself into some therapy and unpack that with a professional so you can heal and make it out to the other side. But the one thing that you do not need to do, and I cannot say this enough, you do not need to be ashamed. Get that out of your head right now. You do not need to be ashamed. I was a huge, I mentioned it in one of my earlier mental health episodes. I had so much garbage going on inside of me because of a lot of things that happened to me and that I went through in my childhood, that I turned to alcohol. My father was a drunk. All I did the year that I was in college was party and drink. I drank so much one night that I blacked out, and over 20 years later, I still don't know what happened that night. I don't remember. I blacked out. That's how drunk I got. There were so many other things that happened to me and that I did. If I told you all of it, I would have you sitting here listening to this podcast episode for probably the rest of today. But again, I tell my stories, my testimony, in order to help others. Now, I'm not telling you that you have to go out here and tell your business to every Tom, Dick, and Harry. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you don't have to hold your head down. You don't have to be ashamed. If somebody tries to confront you about something concerning your past, own it. I promise you that will immediately disarm them, because when people do that, they're usually trying to shame you or humble you. Excuse me. Yeah, people love to shame others and try to humble them. Don't let them. If somebody tries to confront you with, oh, I remember when you used to be like this. Oh, I remember when you used to do that. The first thing you tell them is, yeah, I did. And that usually shuts them up real quick. A lot of people want you to be ashamed. As long as you grow and heal from your past, that's what matters. A lot of people have done things in their past and they don't even feel sorry about it. That's a story for another time. But yeah, if you have anything in your past that you're still struggling with today, get into therapy immediately and unpack it and get some help for it. Getting therapy is one of the best decisions I have ever made. I recommend it to anybody. We need to stop thinking that going to therapy makes you weak, because it doesn't. Anybody can run from their problems. Anybody can hide the truth. Any coward can do that. It takes strength to look at yourself in the mirror and admit that something is wrong and that you need help for it. That takes real strength and real courage, because that is not an easy thing to do. So I'm going to leave you guys with these parting words. Do not let anybody beat you over the head with anything from your past, any mistakes you made, anything that happened to you. Don't let them beat you over the head with it. Don't let them try to shame you or humble you. You do not have to be ashamed. There is nothing for you to be ashamed about. Own it. There's strength in that. It really is. It takes a lot of effort to keep running. It really does. It takes a lot of effort to keep running. I look around me today, and it's usually not that hard to spot somebody that has trauma. It's really not. If you pay attention, they're usually easy to spot. And a lot of those people, instead of working on themselves, it's easier for them to point the finger outward and project their issues onto you. When people do that, I feel so sorry for them. I had an ex-boyfriend like that. I was about to end this episode, but I'm having more thoughts that I want to talk to you about. I had an ex-boyfriend like that. And thank God I was not with him long, because as soon as those red flags started popping up, I immediately got rid of his ass. He was the typical undercover narcissist. When I tell you this man had so much trauma, that would be an understatement. This man had truckloads of trauma. But instead of working on himself, it was always everybody else's fault. It was his sister's fault. It was his ex-wife's fault. It was his co-worker's fault. It was never him. It was always somebody else's fault. Don't be that person. Whatever you're dealing with, work through it. Again, it doesn't feel good, but it is so worth it. Because when you've unpacked all of that trauma, all of that garbage that you went through, when you unpack it and deal with it, and you eventually make it to the other side, nobody can shame you. Nobody can embarrass you, because you know who you are. Because you went and got help and you did the work. Be that person. Be that person that makes it to the other side, because you did the work. I hope this helps somebody. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. This is Dietra D. I hope you guys have a good day. Don't be ashamed. And I will talk to you guys later. Have a good one. Bye-bye.